Greetings, everyone. I'm Ambesh, and I'm grateful to be here with Marius for the episode 26 of the Power Pages Quick Tip series. In this episode, we delve into how to use the Fetch XML with the liquid in Power Pages. So let's get started. To understand how to use the Fetch XML with the liquid in the Power Pages, familiarize yourself with the Fetch XML first. So Fetch XML is an XML-based query language used in the Microsoft Dataverse to retrieve the data from the table. It is primarily used in the environments like a Power Pages, Microsoft Model-Driven Power Apps, Dynamic 365, and the Power Automate. Please note this is a read-only queries language, so you can use it for the retrieving data, but not to update or delete it. It is unstructured like an XML, so making it compatible with the tools and the systems that process the XML. It also designed to work with the Dataverse platform, allowing you to fetch the complex relational data. FetchXML also support like a filtering with conditions, sorting, joins across tables, aggregations like count, sum, and so on, and the aliases and the projection, like if you need to select the specific columns. To use the FetchXML in the Power Pages, you typically embed it with the liquid templates to query the data from the Microsoft Dataverse and render it dynamically on your site. And there are a few steps of the overview, like how you do this. So you have to create a web template in the Power Pages and use the fetch XML liquid tag to embed your fetch XML query. Then you have to iterate over the results using the liquid to loop through the results and render them in the HTML. Also, please remember to set the permission, ensure that the user accessing the page has the correct web roles. Also, the table permission are configured to allow read access to the entities you are querying on. Add the template to the web pages. For that, you have to create a page template that uses your web templates, then create a web template that uses a page template into that case. There are several benefits in the Power Pages if we use the fetch XML. The first one is you don't need any data retrieval, so no code data retrieval. Security integrations. We have a dynamics data renderings that support for the relationships, built-in filtering and the sortings, and that they provide the graphical query builder support. There is also a great tool created by the Jonas Rap, which is available in the XRM toolbox. It's called the Fetch XML Builder. So if you want to get know more about that, then you can look to the playlist. I have produced a video along with him where he explained the end-to-end how to set up and build the XRM toolbox Fetch XML Builder for your use. Now I would like to request Marius to show how to use Fetch XML with Liquid in Power Pages, some of the great tips and inside secrets. So over to you, Marius.
Thanks, Ambesh. So over in the Power Pages Maker portal, I've created a page. I've called it Products Fetch XML, which contributes to my story that we had in a recent episode this card gallery with products in it. But maybe something where if you have a web shop, the products page is something where you absolutely need to have it like the stakeholders want it, right? And then maybe the cards wouldn't work, so you create it completely custom. So in this page, I go with edit code to get into the HTML of this page. And in this HTML, you define a liquid tag fetch XML, and then you give it a name. Then comes your fetch, and then end fetch XML. And after that, you can use this. Here I've gave it product result. I can use product results.results.entities. In this case, in this for loop to iterate over all the results I have, and then I render out the card you just saw in the preview. We will take a look at the final result in a second. That's basically it inside here. So I gave it a name in the iteration again, and then you can just go over the attributes of it. So for example, the ID, or over here we had an icon file, so a file, an image column, and then I took the URL of this to render out the image. Also notice down here, I've iterated again over these results inside a script tag to produce an array, and we will come to that when we take a look at the final results. So over at the page, here you see what's getting out. I have 8 products in here, notebook, laptop, and so on. And over here with the developer tools, I can take a look at the code that was generated. So here we see, for example, the notebook block with the image URL and so on. So this is all in here 8 times. And down here we have the script tag with the products array. And that is somewhat interesting if, for example, you don't want to expose the web API because of the freedom the user has in querying it. You can also retrieve data with FetchXml on the server side. So this is created on the server and is delivered as a final result to the client. So meaning the data that is read cannot be tampered with on the client. This still doesn't mean you can't ignore the security setup. You still need to look out for this because maybe the user can manipulate some input parameters, something like an ID that you give in and then query from. So still something to consider, but it can give you more control over what the user can see. Also consider that if you are using this in general, this is much more maintenance effort. So it takes much longer to build such a page, although Copilot makes it a little bit easier, but it takes longer to build such a page than just to configure like the card gallery. And also the maintenance throughout time. So after years, you will still maintain it and push updates to it. So yeah, there is a considerable effort. You should only use this when this is just the best option. And you should also consider the performance because this is calculated on the server before the page is delivered out to the client. This can have a considerable amount of time in loading that the user will notice if there are, for example, many and complex queries on the page. And I had it once where we had over 10 queries on the page, and yeah, then the next complaint was it loads too long. With that comment, I would like to hand back to Ambesh. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marius, for the interesting demo and the insight around the fetch XML. As we know that fetch XML is really, really connected with the Dataverse. So you don't have to write any kind of the server-side code and everything fetch XML can do. Fetch XML already wrapped around all of the security aspect, like entity permission, web roles, table level security. So they ensure fetch XML itself ensure that the users see only the data that are allowed to access. They had inbuilt sortings, inbuilt orderings, inbuilt filtering options available there. So they have a lot of benefits, but in my view, there are some limitations also available. Like if we write a fetch XML, then the first and the problematic, which you also get highlighted, the poor debugging and logging support, including the maintenance. So if we get some errors, there is an empty results, but nothing more into that one. So we don't know what exactly going wrong there until we start really going to this, like break the code and start printing the smaller chunks for that one. Manual pagination effort is needed there. So, more than 5,000, nobody go for the 5,000. But if we go with the 50, 100, then we require the manual paginations. And for me, the main thing is that read only. So if you want kind of the other CRUD operations, except the read, it won't work there. The biggest limitation, what I felt with, in my opinion, that it's only work with the Dataverse. So if we used any other sources like a SQL, Oracle, or any SharePoint, any kind of the data source, it definitely won't work there. But still, it has their own values. So we need to use it really on the wise note that do we really get the benefits and ROI if we are using the fetch XML, or maybe we can go some other alternative approaches. So I will leave up to all of the audience, like how they're feeling it, how they're gonna use it. It's totally depend on them. And on that note, I also ask the audience to stay tuned to this channel by subscribing and pressing the bell icon. Share the video with your friends and colleagues having the same skill sets like you. we are coming up, or we will be coming up with a more interesting tip, knowledge sharing, and the lesson learning around the Power Pages. So please always keep your eyes into the description also of the videos also. So we provide any updated information there. Till that, have a nice time and happy learning. Goodbye.